All right, man. What's going on, everybody, man? Welcome back to another episode of Recruiting Unfiltered with Najeh Wilkins. Apologize for me being late. Had some internet issues, man. Appreciate everybody tuning in. We got a special guest in the building. Today we're talking to Elam Rahman, obviously from North Gwinnett High School, man. Excited to talk to my guy. It's been a little minute since I've last seen him. So excited to talk about him and his journey. Smile in the background. Let's bring him on, man. My guy, what's going on?
What's up? What's up? How are you?
I'm doing good, man. How about yourself?
Good, good. Excited to come
Man.
on here.
So man, started, man. What's been the latest, man? Obviously, last time I see you, you were young, you're a freshman. Obviously trying to make your hay, and then now, man, you're going into that senior year, man. So, what has this journey been like for you?
Yeah, it's been a good journey, a fun journey, especially at a place like North Gwinnett, where really the work doesn't stop. It's year round for us. So just been putting in the hard work and getting most of the results that we want, and had a good season last year and hoping to build on that to really blow the gates open this year.
What were some of the big things you learned being at North Carolina? Like I said, it's never an easy day. It's always putting in, going through the process, learning. What was some of the biggest lessons you just learned from just being at North Carolina?
Really, we run our program like a college team. So from the workouts to the amount of film we watch to, everything, just being prepared on how much preparation goes into a game day on a Friday night. We just put in so much preparation just for, just one day a week, which it shows, it starts to pay off as well.
And then in terms of preparation, I know last year, correct me if I'm wrong, you split some snaps last year, obviously with another
Yeah.
quarterback. How was that on you, and how you didn't allow that to necessarily mess up your rhythm, but allow you to kind of flourish essentially?
It's just something that comes with the game. So competition is good. We're both good quarterbacks that could, play at the next level. Um, so we just push each other every day in practice, to get the best out of each other, knowing that we're doing whatever it takes to win on a Friday night.
For sure. What was it like, my man, playing for Eric Godfrey? I know he's been in the program for a couple years now, but what has that been like? Obviously, he's well respected coach around the state. What is it like playing for him?
Man, Coach Godfrey, everyone loves Coach Godfrey. Anytime you see him during the school day, he's always dapping up teachers and everything. Everyone loves Coach Godfrey. But he's always, someone that'll put you in the right position on a Friday night. Whether, it's a Monday or a Tuesday, he's setting you up in the long run, so as a player's coach to play on a Friday night and to play at the next level as well. It's not always just, he's doing what we need to do, not just, what makes us feel is best.
For sure. Okay, so let's go back to last season. I want you to tell me a couple things, two things you think you did really well, and two things you really want to work on. You feel like you can improve.
Last year was my first year playing, significant amount of snaps on a Friday night. So, two things I think one was learning how to slow the game down. I think that was something that I took, each and every game. We didn't start off as well as we wanted to in the Corky Kill. Like just not our performance that we should have had. And then building on from there, once we hit, that first region game against Brookwood, we were just putting up points on the board and really, we're just going up like this. And it was just for me, it was slowing the game down, not trying to, if we're down, not trying to come back in one play or, just not trying to make it all back in one play. And I learned how to play with my pace. And the second thing is also just taking what the defense gives you, kind of building off that. It's not really, wanting to take that shot all the time, not wanting to do this, not wanting to do that, just taking what they give you. If you're playing off, take the route, just live to play another down, as our offensive coordinator says.
And then how has your preparation been just the off season so far? What are some things that you're trying to kind of fine tune as the season before we know it's gonna be here again?
100%. Pulling in spring ball right now, I'm really trying to work on my mobility. Um, that's another thing that I know I can move, but just building on that, just to have another, threat for our offense as well. But also just, controlling the game and playing with my pace like I learned to do towards the end of last season. After that, first region game, I felt like the game slowed down a lot for me, and I was able to make the reads and necessary progressions.
Now you've always been kind of that dual threat quarterback. I remember watching your film before. You've always done like the RPO game. So how do you kind of, if you don't mind sharing, how do you like fine tune that? What are some things you have to do? Is it more agility drills, more running sprints? Like how do you kind of, I guess, showcase that even more?
Yeah, yeah. For me, it's just like running and sprints and different things of that nature. Agility. It's just when the pocket collapses, not trying to rush and make that play. Because just to trust the legs, trust the ability that I have, and not trying to really when you have the dudes in your face, not trying to rush and make that throw, but taking your time and getting to where you need to make the platform throw.
Period. All right, man. So tell me, man, a little bit about some of these receivers you've been playing with, man. You're gonna be playing with next year as well, man. That we need to watch out for.
You know, we had a great, few receivers this year as well. You know, we had both the Jackson brothers who were significant to our offense, one being Braylon Jackson, who right now is uncommitted, but he's 2026. You know, he could, he was one of the main parts of our offense. And one of the things that stick out for him is his blocking. Like if you run an outside zone or anything, you want to flip him, put him a little tighter, he'll put his nose down and block. He does whatever it takes, for the team first. Um, He's more that guy that'll make every, tough catch in traffic, those type of things, get yards after the catch as well. A really physical guy. Another one was Evan Hawkins, our slot receiver. So me and Evan been playing again for a long time. You know, he's a quick guy, can move, deep threat. You know, give him a quick couple screen routes here and there. He's at 27, so looking forward to building that connection this year. And the third is so I'll give two more, but one being our tight end, Max Patterson. You know, he's transformed his game over the past couple of years. Having a senior go down last year when we were sophomores and him stepping up to the way he's playing now, it's completely different. You know, he puts the game in his hands and he's a leader, calls out everything, helps everybody around him. And Christian Jackson, who's a guy who didn't have the best stats, but he could play. He was started the season off as safety, so, when we had a few injuries, then he was playing safety and then ended up coming back to the offensive side, in the middle of the year, which is a difficult transition to make as you're putting in plays every single week, to prepare. So, but he's a guy who could ball and is going to really take a step up this year as well.
Appreciate you sharing that, Elam. My next question for you. So we talked about your game, talk about how you want to elevate it. For you, Elam, what has been, I guess, maybe just the most rewarding part of your journey so far? I know it's still early and you're going to go off to college and play well, but what's been the most rewarding part so far?
Man, just like being able to go in these big games, for example, like I'll use the example as the Lowndes game this year. We had played Lowndes in playoffs and the home game, and you walked out and everyone, our whole, side of the stands wearing black, whole city of Swanee was there, and just being able to perform and knowing that you had everyone out there, that's just cheering you on and everyone wants to see you win, and being out there performing, putting on for your city really is, the most rewarding part for me. It's not really just, knowing you're not doing it for yourself, but you're doing it for the people around you and the city that's behind you, because the city will always be behind you here.
Exactly. And I was going to ask you that obviously following that. What was your favorite game from last year? But I'm assuming it's going to be Lowndes.
Yeah. Yeah, that game was something else. We it was a big game going into the season. We were both ranked, right wherever we were. We were ahead by one, they were ahead by one in the top 10, or and then we go into that game and we really like from the jump, we knew what it was. So defense got a stop. We went down and scored. Then defense got another stop, and I threw I forgot how far it was, maybe 70-yard, 60-yard touchdown pass to Evan. And from then on, it was, we just had to keep the foot on the neck and put the control in our hands and slow the game down. And that's what we did. Came out on top.
Y'all did. So we talked about your game. How as a team, Elam, do you guys take that next jump? We know North Gwinnett has always been synonymous with winning championships, stable in Gwinnett County. But how do you guys take that next step in your final season as a team?
Really for us, I think the main thing is just finishing the job. Like we're there every year. We're right there in that Elite Eight, Final Four. We're in that range, and we really just need to finish the job for us. Um, I think it's not that we're lacking any talent, lacking anything like that. I think it's just we just when the time comes, we just need to finish the job. That's really it, and I think we'll get it done.
Period. All right. When to ask you, so Corky Kell this year. All right. I'm
Yep.
going to ask you about it. Guys are playing, rival. I still think it's a rival. You guys are playing Grayson.
Yeah.
Corky Kell, 8 p.m. Man, like just give me your initial thoughts about that game and being able to be on that big stage in prime time in the Benz.
I think it's gonna be a great game. I have a lot of buddies over there. A lot of my boys play over there. Saeed, Deuce, all those guys. Um, I'm ready to play against them. I mean, we've been playing against each other since we were seventh grade, eighth grade. GFL, semifinal championship, stuff like that. So it's just another opportunity to play against a great team and just go out there and compete. And not everyone has the opportunity to start the game off in the nicest stadium in the country and playing on TV and stuff. So go out there and compete and just have fun.
Facts. So walk me through real quick about those rivalries back in the past, because people don't know. I played in GFL too. People don't know
Yeah.
GFL is something different, man. So you playing in the
Yeah.
championships. Tell people from your experience what that was like.
Man, it was always fun. Like they were always the powerhouse team in our age group. Uh, like it would always be us versus them, us versus them. It was always us, them, and Buford. And that was always the three teams. So we, going over there and playing, and I'm gonna be honest, they got the best of us then, but we gotta get back now. But that was it was fun.
Got you. Real quick, have you guys came out with your schedule? I know we talked about the Grayson game, but you guys have y'all came out with your complete schedule just yet or no?
I don't think it's completely out, not yet.
Not yet.
I think
Okay.
it will be out pretty soon. Pretty soon.
Got you. All right. So
Yeah,
still
yeah.
waiting on that release. So I guess, man, when you look, I was talking about that game. You guys always play national opponents too. So I guess why do you guys, or why does your program never run? I guess from the proverbial smoke, like you guys play the best
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
best.
Like going into last year, Douglas County was ranked one of the best teams in the state. Personnel wise, they had everything you needed, and it's really, it's good to see where you stand. Because the first couple games, you really want to like show what it's about. We played Colquitt the second game. I had gotten injured that game, but that was another, solid team as well. And then Mill Creek after that. So just being able to play those big name teams, it's easy to think that you're doing this well, you're doing that well, but when you get to play against the best of the best, it really sets you up for the long run because you could basic, beginning of the season, you're still trying to figure out what you got, what you don't have, what your team, the pros and cons of the team, and being able to see what you do well and being able to build on that for the season to come is big for us.
For sure. One thing about your game I want to talk about, Elam. I know you said obviously not taking as much chances, taking what the defense gives you is one of your key points, but you didn't really turn the ball over a lot from what I saw in your film and what I saw on Max Preps. You only had 2 picks. So how were you just able to calculate that so well, you would say, and not put the ball in harm's way and not, put your team in inopportune positions?
Yeah, I give most of it to, our offensive coordinator and quarterback coach, Coach Faulkner, Todd Faulkner. He puts us in the right position as a quarterback. I mean, we watch so much film during the week. Like we know what's gonna come most of the time. We watch every day, we watch a couple hours of film minimum, whether it's like during school, after school, before school, whatever it is. And he puts in the perfect game plan for us, I feel like. Knowing what, I would like from an offensive standpoint, what I like to do and how it compares to the defense that we're going to play. He always puts us in the right position. So the coach put us in the right position from a preparation standpoint and getting into the game. And really, for the first couple games, it was obviously rough. Being coming new into 6A football, but after that, third or fourth game, I feel like I got everything under control and was able to play how I needed to play. Being able to, what I see on film and then seeing it in person and playing off that.
What was that, if you don't mind me asking, what was that hoorah moment for you where it just like it clicked? Was it a play? Was it something you've seen? Like what made it click for you, you think?
Um, for me, I would say it was that Brookwood game.
Mm.
That first game I played well. I mean, we didn't play well, sorry, as a team, and it was just rough. Second game, it was sloppy in the beginning, and I ended up taking a hit. So I was out with a concussion for the half the rest of half that game, and then that following Mill Creek game, that Brookwood game. Once I came in, I had a like rushing touchdown off the edge. I had dove in, and once we scored that, it was 7-7. That was the region championship at the time. So being able to score that touchdown and then being able to get with my guys and understand like, all right, it's here now, like it's time to go ball. And then from then, we took a 2-minute drive, scored, field goal, from then it was just clicking, everything was clicking. And then the next few region games, I feel like everyone was ready, everyone was on the same page, and it was time to go ball for us.
My question to you, you just obviously talked about it. How do you guys avoid, I guess you would say, that slower start? We know, hold on. Sorry about that. That was my Alexa.
No, yeah, all good, all good.
But how do you go? We know what's most important is obviously region play, right? But like I said, power ranking system now. How do you guys avoid that slow start when you're playing more often than not when the schedule comes out upper echelon guys,
Yep.
upper echelon teams? How do you avoid that slow start? You would say.
Um, I feel like it's just all about, just not being afraid, coming out there and just playing, putting all the work that we do every day from, conditioning that starts in a few weeks all the way up to August. It's just not being afraid, knowing that if we play our game, we'll be fine. I feel like that's just all it comes down to, when you play the big name teams, the former number one team in the country, things like that. You got to really just know that if you trust your game plan, then everything else will fall into place. You play our ball, we'll come out with what we want to.
For sure. All right, Elam, I want to get to know you a little bit outside of football, man. So, well, what are some things, man, you like to do to kind of just, decompress a little bit, man, enjoy the
Yeah.
time, just kind of recalibrate a little bit?
Um, I just like hanging out. I'm a really big family guy. I got a lot of family, so I'm always with my family, hanging out with my cousins and all that. I just that's a big part for me is a family. I just like love being with my family, hanging out. So like coming to the games and all them, they're always showing love. And I got little cousins that are about to come into high school and stuff, and they can ball too. But like going and watch them play and stuff. Um, yeah, I'm a big family guy, so I like to hang out with my family, uh, play some video games, and just get.
Be a kid, for sure. Well, what are some things you're telling your younger cousins, man? They about to be in the position you're in. So, what are you telling them about things they need to be successful?
For them, they're just just telling them to keep working. It all starts right now for them. And they know like they just put in the work and the progress will come. They like the being in a system like North Gwinnett, you'll be prepared with the film, the football IQ and everything. As long as you put in the work, you'll get the results you want.
100%. All right, so we talked about that. What are some of your pregame traditions? What are some things you like to do to kind of get ready to pregame? Are you kind of to yourself? You like to be quiet? You like to listen to calm music? You like to pray? Like, what do you like to do pregame to get in the mode?
So, I'm usually, calm. Uh, I just hang out, whatever, before the game stuff, and then I walk the field, pray, and it's usually like before that, I'm usually listening to like calm music, nothing crazy. Walk the field, I'll pray, envision a few plays. And once it gets colder, I'll actually go out and do, some banded warm ups and stuff like that. Like once it gets deep in the playoffs, I'll go throw some warm ups and then pray and after I walk the field and come back inside. And then from then on is just when I started to get hype. I'm an energy guy. I play off a lot of energy, so
Mhm.
that's a big part for me as well.
Now, does your energy feed off the teammates, or like kind of you just got your own like energizer thing going?
We're always all ready to play. Those Friday nights in the locker room before the game is everyone's lit, everyone's ready to go. It's like all the adrenaline before you run out there. It's high adrenaline. We all have it, and after that, for me, it's usually after the first couple plays, everything quiets down. But before then, it's a lot of energy, a lot of adrenaline. After a few first plays, then everything's slows down.
Gotcha. Is there anybody you like to watch, Elam, in the collegiate level or NFL level?
I really I like just enjoying watching everybody. I usually watch like a lot of like I'll watch some like old Aaron Rodgers. I like just like that type of play style. The pro style play style, I guess people call it now. But I like to watch some of that. I just watch football all around really.
Gotcha. Any favorite players besides A-Rod?
I don't I don't know, man. I just
Nah, you just love
not
the
really.
game.
Yeah, I just watch really. I used to be into it, but I like just watching now at this point.
I got, I got you. All right, man. So, couple more. I'm gonna let you go, man, because I won't take no more than like 20 minutes. So, I want to ask you about recruiting, man. It's just what's the latest there, man? What's been going on? What schools have been showing some interest in you?
Yeah, yeah. I've had a few schools, come talk to me and stuff, talking to schools. For me, I'm ready to go this spring camp and throw on campus because I know a lot of schools for quarterbacks they like to watch you throw in person. So right now I'm waiting for this offseason to come up and I go see a few camps. I don't really have the schedule out right now or like what my schedule is right now for these camps. I'm still talking to coaches, but once I figure that out, I'll post and everything and be ready to go out there and throw.
Got you. Do you plan to do like just in terms of your plan? Do you plan to do like a bunch of like mega camps or just like kind of more centric around the certain schools?
Maybe one or two mega camps, but really I want to go to the schools, build a relationship with the school and the coaches, and then from there being able to throw in front of them and show them.
Period. And then if you can share, just what like give me one or two schools that have shown interest.
Um, I mean, it's just like a lot of schools that I had like, minimal conversations or not minimal, sorry, but conversations with like just like around the area.
Got
So once like this is a lot of schools. So like once I'm able to build a relationship, that's what I'm looking forward to right now is building that relationship. And once I can find out in springtime the relationships that are built, what schools will be viable for me to go through in front of.
when you
So
throw. No, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, that's I pride myself on my ability to throw. So being able to go on campus and throwing in front of those coaches will really be, you know, beneficial for me.
What are some things you just want to show, outside of throwing that will make them feel okay? Elam's a really good fit for our program and what we want to do.
Yeah, I'm definitely not the biggest or the, tallest or anything like that, but I feel like I could make up for a lot of that with my football IQ and how well I know the game. And along with that, my throw, like my arm as well, my arm talent. So I feel like I could, throw with anybody and, play once I play with my football IQ, I feel like it's pretty good.
Where does that come from? You don't mind me asking? Your football IQ?
Yeah,
How? Yep.
I really get a lot of it from, again, like a preparation. Like the first couple years, I sat behind a good quarterback. I sat in a great system, so I was able to learn a lot. Really, what it was like. I was pulled up my freshman year, so I was able to really sit back and just analyze what I saw. A lot of what I saw, um, and I was sat behind a good quarterback and Ryan Hall, being able to learn from his mistakes and his successes. You really get to understand everything. And I've always like had like decent amount of football IQ, but once I got to high school, really coverages and routes and tendencies and everything like that, I learned a lot. And also we learned a lot on like not just to watch film, but how to watch film. Like break the film down into formation or break the film down into certain motions. Like if you give this motion, what their tendencies are to do, and things like that we learn at North.
All right, so let me break down your football IQ for coaches that watch it. Sometimes I have them come on the show and watch it. Break down how you would go against a cover four. How would you try to defeat that type of cover? Don't give me a play. Just give me like routes you would have receivers running in order to beat that a cover four.
So for cover four, usually you're gonna have to put some type of pressure and sometimes in the flats because if everyone's playing off like that, first off, for me it's always to check the box. So once you're able to check the box, if they have a light box, then you could always I feel confident in North Carolina's running game. We always have a strong running game. So if they have a light box, I'm always looking out for that. And then really just to put pressure on the safeties on what their tendencies are to do. And then for me, it's a lot to do with personnel. That's a lot. So obviously the go for, you'll have the flats and stuff, and then certain stuff over the middle, but like in between the linebackers. But for me, it's a lot to do with personnel. Once I learn a lot about their personnel, then that's where we get a lot of our game plan from as well.
Gotcha. Last one. I know you talk about personnel as being a prime opponent, but let's say they're stacking that box as cover three. They're trying to stop that run.
Hmm.
They're playing kind of like that man and then zone on one side on the side. How would you try to break that down?
Really, cover three, then you really got to put pressure on that safety, see where he's going. Maybe you have that seam route. Maybe you have, something like a quick hitch or a quick comeback on the outside before the flat player can get out there. Having that high low and things like that with that flat player. If you have a flat, for example, if you had a flat and an out route to see what that high low defender does, and being able to put it on top of the high low defender, or taking the flats and giving what they give you.
Let me ask you this, Elam, without giving away too much. When you're breaking down and you're like, okay, I'm looking for tendencies, I'm looking for like who to attack. I've always taught the quarterbacks. They always told me the safety. Now, for you, is it different? Are you looking more at the safety? Are you looking at a corner? Or are you just looking based off formation? Like, how do you kind of diagnose what it is?
Yeah, 100%. That's the first thing, you as a quarterback, because first thing you look out for is the safeties because it gives a lot away. So even if it's pre-snap or post-snap, depending on what they do, if they make a post-snap change, then the first thing you look at is the safeties. If they roll, then you know what's coming. If they stay and what they are, then you also know what's coming. And then once you look at the corners, I look down at the safety and their leverage on how they're playing. If they're playing outside, if they're playing like zone, looking at me, or if they're tight, pressed up. It's a man as well. So it's really just the safeties, because even if they do something post snap, the safeties have to do it as well. So you'll be able to see off them.
Gotcha. I was just about to ask, like, how do you diagnose? But basically, like you said, you would base it off the safety. Because sometimes they'll try to disguise coverage. Like, hey, I
Yep.
might be thinking, hey, we're running cover three, but no, we're really running man. So, like,
Hmm.
if you're a quarterback, how do you prepare to like know a defense might be trying to like manipulate
Yeah.
you and play a different coverage?
So if they're in that too high or whatever, and you think it's cover three, and it's
Right.
really man, they're gonna have somebody come play the hole. So once you have that robber guy, that safety roll down, then you can look back at that corner and be like, okay, it's man, or you could tell pre-snap by the corner's leverage. All right, it looks like man over here. And then once you see that robber come down to the middle of the field, everyone else is playing man, then you know where to attack.
Let me ask you this. Let's say it's a tight window throw, right? You got to get it right over that corner, but right before the safety comes, they're about to converge, but your receiver's right there in the middle. How do you layer that football where you don't kill your receiver, but get it to him in time before that safety comes up?
Yeah, 100%. We practiced a lot of those throws. Like for example, we had a we were Lowndes did that a lot where the corner would come down on the out route. So there was a play where we had out, simple play, and I knew it was gonna come, so I pump faked the out route, corner came down, and I was able to give my receiver a catchable ball. He made a play in the hole, broke a tackle, and got a couple yards from that. So, just being able to be on the same page as your receivers is big for us. We all watch film together, the quarterbacks and the receivers, so we're like, okay, you see this, we see this, we know what's coming. So being able to adjust, knowing that we watch film together, we're all on the same page as well.
So let me ask you that: how what's the best formula to make sure you're on time with your receiver? Is it the timing? Is it the constant reps together? Is it the film? What do you need in order to make sure you and your receiver are constantly on the same page?
100%. Like it's just everything in total. We start throwing. We're gonna start throwing here soon, and just have those 4-on-1s and whatnot. But being able to build that chemistry on the routes, the speed, and then once it comes to season time, by then we'll all have, we'll know about each other's, speed and where they want this ball and how I'm gonna throw this ball and how they're gonna run this route. But then when it comes to changing that from both of us, me changing the way I throw the ball and how they run the route differently depending on the team we're playing, watching film together is big on that point. So, and they're gonna change this and stem this differently, and I'm gonna put this ball with more air, less air, because this guy's a fast player or whatever in the hole and this and that. Just the preparation that we put in and watching the film together, we know we're all on the same page there.
Period. Last two, I'll let you go, Elam. What do you personally want to accomplish this season in terms of your own goals and everything you want to do?
Really, I just wanna, you know, build based off what we did last year. I'm a team guy, so I really want to take us to the state championship and prove that we could, play with the big name teams. Like you said earlier, North Gwinnett is always there. We're always there deep in the playoffs, like Final Four this year. So trying to, get to that, get to that ship and prove that we could play. And I just want to prove to, you know, colleges and things that not based off whatever you want to look at, I could play at the highest level, and Georgia high school football is the best high school football in the country, especially at the 6A level.
Period. Last one. It's a big one. It's a big open up question. What do you want people to know about your story that you may not say elsewhere, or you want to know about your journey that's unique and distinctively to only you? Only people, only certain, like your mom, your dad may know, but something that makes you Elam compared to other people.
I again, like I just think it's um, you know, like coming in, in football now, the quarterback, the typical quarterback that you see is now 6'2", 6'3", this and that. Knowing that I'm not the size and everything, that I play with everything without that, just the amount of time I put into the game. When it comes from August to December, my family knows that we don't take any vacations. For us, it's football season from then on. We're all locked in. But me, just how much time, like I come home, I'll turn on some film, watch some film, talk to my dad about how practice went, what were different things that we're doing, and just how much how much I put into the game as well. It's not just that I play the game, but from those months I breathe the game, and I'm all into it. And I know that, going into the play at the next level, that's what you gotta need, that's what you gotta have, and I know I have that right now.
Period. As I let you go, man, anybody you want to shout out, any closing comments, anybody you want to thank before I really let you get up out of here?
Yeah, no, just thankful for my family. They put me in the right position all the time. Also thankful, for the people that I have around me. North Gwinnett a special place. Athletically, but academically. The teachers, the coaches, everybody. There's really just one big family, and I appreciate everyone.
There it is. Well, Elam, I appreciate you coming on the show, brother, and give me some of your time, man, allowing you to tell your story on my platform, brother. It's always been love. Tell your dad I said hello, man, and shout out to you and the entire family.
100%. Thank you so much, man.
Yes, sir. Anytime, man. Elam Rahman, one of the top 2027 quarterbacks people just don't know about. We just don't know about. Watch him this year, man. North Gwinnett High School, they're going to be in the Corky Kell. They're going to be playing on TV, man. I think he's going to put up a special performance during that game. All right, man. Let's keep it going, man. We got the rest of the show to talk about, man. We're going to talk recruiting. all that good stuff, because this is Recruiting Unfiltered. So we're going to be talking everything recruiting for the rest of the way, man. So let's go ahead and break down a big one for those that are still here. Joakim Gouda initially announced his top 5 schools. This was broke by Hayes Fawcett of Rivals, via formerly on 3. But here is his top 5, as I talked about in the video. Florida, Texas, Georgia, Auburn, Alabama. And like I said in my video, when I broke all this down, all these schools are very unique and distinct when it comes to the linebacking position, right? You look at what Texas and Georgia has done the past 2 years. They've consistently gotten guys to the league. Anthony Hill Jr., which should be a top guy that goes to the league. Georgia, and what they obviously been doing and getting guys like Roquan Smith into the league, Nolan Smith, so on and so forth. So both of those programs produce guys that can go to the next level and play very highly when they go off professionally. Auburn, we haven't seen it as much here in recent memory, but they're going to have a new regime, new head coach, and Alex Golish. So they will look a lot different this upcoming year, man. He's brought a lot of staff with him to the Auburn Tigers. Could be a different team. Their defense was pretty good last year. You just got to get the offense to match, man. But Auburn was not a bad pick there as well. And you can never go wrong with Alabama. Alabama has religiously produced, linebacking roles. I know it's a different regime, new head coach, Kalen DeBoer, so on and so forth. So this team looks vastly different. But at the same time, you have to respect what Alabama has done in their history and their pedigree. And then Florida, obviously, Mylan Graham. We know how good he's been with the Florida Gators. I think he's just about around us, really. I don't know. I have to go look more into detail when it comes to that. But we know he's been one of the best linebackers in the country, especially in the SEC when he's been there. So another program that has been able to develop linebackers at a higher level, man. So you can't go wrong with this top 5. It comes down to Joakim. Does he want to stay here in Georgia? Does he want to develop at the Bulldogs, who have been known to getting guys to the league and playing at a high level? Or does he want to go somewhere where he can play early? Right? Auburn's been a program we've seen. If you're a linebacker, you can potentially play early if you can play at a high level. So that's going to be some of the big determinants for him. How early does he want to play? Or does he want to go somewhere he may sit the first year, may redshirt, and obviously develop and continue to get strong, bigger, and faster? So that's going to be a couple things to continue to watch out for there for Joakim Gouda. But he announced his top 5. All right, y'all. We're going to keep it moving. Talking about a big recruiting piece. This is going to be next week. So I'm putting y'all on game. Any media member that follows me that wants to know, this is the hottest ticket in town. I will say that again. This is the hottest ticket in town. If you want to go to an event that's one of the best of the best, it's in the A, in the city, this is the place to be. Sevens 7-on-7 tournament. I'm not just saying that, what I'm saying, because I did a promo for them. Like, legit, when you talk about recruiting, you talk about media, you talk about exposure, you talk about just being able to get your name out there. Sevens is an event not only for the kids, but it's also for media members as well. It's a top-notch event. All right, the best of the best is going to be here, right? Going to have SFE, Paradise, C1N, Hustle Inc., Huncho. Any top 7-on-7 program you could think of in the nation is going to be in attendance at this event, man. So this is the best of the best, the creme de la creme. So I'm telling y'all, next week, if you're able to get in, this event has blown up so much in popularity that they're having to limit media members. Literally, they've had over 150 entries just to come to this event. Goes to tell you all you need to know about how big, how fast this event has gotten. And just this will be just the second year of this event, right? The inaugural year was last year. They did this event twice. This is the place to be. If you want to go, you're a media member, like I said, and you want to go expose kids, you want to get top plays, you want to put it on your platform, you want to put it on your Instagram, you want to put it on your Twitter, this is the place to be. All the top guys are going to be there. You can build rapport, you can build relationships. And if you are an unknown guy, we've seen he was known a little bit, but he wasn't known nationally. Bryson Wright, this was an event that he popped off and went completely off. And then next thing you know, he was like the number 1 receiver in his 2028 class. Not saying he wasn't known before. He was known in Florida, but he became a national phenomenon at that event. CJ Cypher's another one. Very young, very well known here in the state of Georgia, but became that national prospect. Really, obviously, great season this past year for him, but Hustle Inc. was when he was starting to kind of take that next step forward as well. So this is the event, bro. This is the best of the best, the creme de la creme, the event that you want to be at next weekend, man. I'm going to be in attendance, man. I think it's at Chamblee High School, but it's going to be the event to obviously be at. So any media member, if you're able to go, try to go. If you can't go, try to find and build a rapport with some of the Sevens staff. It's the event to go to, man. Best of the best, one of the top 7-on-7 events in the nation to me. I think it rivals Miami, or Raw Miami. I said rival. Raw Miami, I think it rivals that event. And I think, like I said, it's a great event for the city. Like, you don't have to go travel somewhere else to go find this kind of talent. You can stay right here in the city, Metro Atlanta, and they're going to put on for you. Don't be surprised if you see in another couple of years this event expands, where they're doing multiple showcases. They're doing Atlanta, they're doing Houston, they're doing, Boston. I'm not saying they're going to do that, but don't be surprised if you see this event continue to expand because they got the national backing. They got Max Preps that's going to be there and it's going to broadcast this. They're going to have Truist Bank who's sponsoring them as well, BioLite. So this event's expanding. This is the place to be. So just want to put y'all up on game of what y'all need to know, events y'all need to be at, so on and so forth. All right. Let's keep it rolling. Let's continue to talk recruiting. Let's talk KJ Green, man, one of the top players. I'm excited. I'm gonna try to be at his event when he. I know he's gonna have a big time event when he officially makes his commitment announcement. But this is the big fish. This is 5 stars. This is the big fish, and I want to show y'all. Here's a little bit of what he was doing this past week. I ended up obviously showing this on my channel. Y'all give me 1 second. Let me find it. Excuse me. Hold on 1 second, y'all. Has to be farther up. Hold on 1 second. I'm trying to find it. I'll just look at it. Okay, here it is. Okay, that was that one. Here it is right here. I ended up sharing this as well. But here he is, y'all. KJ Green, obviously getting prepared. I don't want to get copyrighted, but just putting in the off-season work, man. And what makes him different is we see a lot of times with kids, unfortunately, a lot of these guys, they'll be this highly rated stars and they let it go to their head. This is a humble beast, humble superstar, kind of like a Ruben Bain. Don't really say too much. Just puts in work, and the work ethic of this kid is unmatched. You can't really find it anywhere. He's humble. He's a yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am kind of a person. And you can't help but respect the kid. There's a reason he's the number 10 overall recruit, and so many across the nation is going to want this kid. He's not going to get in trouble. Family guy, like when I tell y'all this kid is different. This kid is different, and I'll say it. I think he's an NFL caliber talent. I really believe that. But now the choice is him. Where can he go develop? Right? Where can he go and become a beast at on the collegiate level? Because he's a beast right now and practically unblockable. Led the nation throughout the season last year in sacks. KJ is him, right? But it's just going to depend on where he wants to go develop. And speaking of, here are his spring visits. He's going to visit Texas, obviously March 12th, Notre Dame March 21st, Auburn March 23rd, Alabama March 26th, Miami April 3rd, Georgia April 9th, South Carolina April 10th, Oregon April 17th, and then LSU April 23rd. Now, mind you, these are spring visits. So what does that mean, guys? This means this is coming out of his pocket, right? So KJ will have to pay for this because it's a UV. It's an unofficial visit. The official visits is when the college pays for him, right? So he's going to be flying out to all these schools. Obviously, we know he's a 5-star prospect. Obviously, we know NIL is here in the state of Georgia, but he will be paying to go to all of these schools. Now, he's a top-tier player. You know what I'm saying? Now, what stands out to me is the schools that's been in this recruitment all along. Alabama, South Carolina are on this list, right? I don't feel like he goes to Georgia. That's just my personal opinion. I don't see it. I don't think KJ, like, if he stays here, cool. But I think he wants to continue to go somewhere where he can develop. Not saying Georgia does develop edge rushers, so I'm not saying that. But it feels like to me it's going to be likely an out-of-state school. Now, Miami's a team that emerged late here, right? Obviously, Mark Cristobal, Jason Taylor, come see him personally, obviously at the school in Stevenson, right? So we saw that already. So Miami is going to be a team you have to continue to watch. And Miami has a really good blueprint right now. You look at Akeem Messendor, you look at Ruben Bain Jr. of developing guys, homegrowing them from within and getting them obviously to the next level, right? Alabama's Alabama, right? There's not too much to say on that. We see several guys transferred over, went there. LB Overton, he's going to be getting drafted, play at a high level. Texas is Texas as well, right? Texas, we know they develop edge rushers. Colin Simmons is one of the top ones in the nation coming into next year, him and Dylan Stewart. So we know that, right? It just depends on him where he wants to go, right? Where can he go get developed? South Carolina, we just talked about it with Dylan Stewart. So it just depends for KJ. It just depends. It's really hard to go wrong with any of these schools, to be humbly honest, when he does eventually shut it down. But for me, if I'm going for development, I would probably go Texas, Miami, potentially Bama. potentially Bama. Those would be the three schools I would probably try to go to if I was KJ. You know what I'm saying? Because they develop at a high level and they're going to bring the talent in and the coaching staff in to help you develop and obviously play at a high level. So those would be the schools I would watch. Not saying those are his top schools, just in terms of development and what he's looking for. Can't sleep on South Carolina either. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to sleep on the Gamecocks. He's always had a good rapport with them and a very good relationship with the Gamecocks and their coaching staff. So it's going to be interesting to follow, interesting to see what KJ ultimate size, but those are his spring visits. So we will see where he will be visiting, obviously here in the spring. All right, let's keep it on the national level. Let's talk Eric McFarland. He announced locked in 3 official visits. He ranks as the number 24 player nationally, number 4 wide receiver in the 2027 class. Obviously, here are the schools that stand out for him: Texas A&M, Tennessee, USC, Ohio State, LSU, and Kentucky. Can't go wrong with any of these, to be honest. I don't know too much about his recruitment. But when I look at these, I mean, Tennessee's already in that conversation with Keyshawn Bowman, who's obviously he's in the Tennessee area and plays football there. But this dude is a beast for IMG Academy. He's hard to stop. He's athletic. He has breakaway speed. Dude's just dynamic with the ball in his hands. Now it just depends on where he wants to go. You know what I'm saying? Does he want to go far out? To obviously USC with what we've been seeing in terms of their development, right, at the wide receiver spot, Mekhi Lemon, right? You look at obviously, Jacoby Lane, like guys have been able to develop. Ohio State is the Ohio State. Can never go wrong with that, right? It just depends. Can you see the field early? But Ohio State has religiously put a wide receiver in the first round every year the past 6 or 7 years. So you can't go wrong with Ohio State. LSU is very interesting. You're going to get the ball if you're playing for Lane Kiffin, right? You're going to get the ball and play at a high level. Texas A&M is going to need receivers going forward, especially with obviously them losing one to the draft this year. They did bring back Mario Craver, but they're going to need receivers going forward into the next draft class. So that could be a place you go and play potentially early. So it just depends on what he wants, man. We look at the landscape. Will I play early? How many players are at my position? We know Eric McFarland's a dog. We know he's going to see the field. But what school can develop my talent the most to get me off to the next level NFL? Feels like to me, any of those schools, Ohio State, LSU, USC, will be schools I'll be considering as a wide receiver. That's just my personal opinion. But we'll see what he ends up doing. But those are his schools. He already locked in 3 official visits. All right, last but not least, before we wrap up the show, we got Adriel Rojas, a kid that obviously blew up in recruiting. Before sophomore season, he didn't have any offers, right? 0. Zilch. But ended up obviously gaining more steam, gaining more traction, and continuing to, kind of gain that acclaim. This past year had nearly, I think, 70 or 80 tackles, only 2 sacks, but obviously was very dominant with a whole bunch of TFLs and QB hurries. Top 7 includes Bama, Duke, Auburn, Florida, Georgia, Georgia Tech, and Vanderbilt. For Rojas, 6'5", 225, already has that college level body to be just going into his senior season. So what does he want to do? Does he want to stay in state? Because Georgia or Georgia Tech are not bad options. Georgia Tech has been relentlessly for years needed edge rusher help. So they need more of that. Georgia will be a place, not bad to go. Freshmen have seen the field early, but he could be in a situation where he has to develop some and where he might not see the field early in year 1. GT, we've seen it this past year with Christian Garrett, Andre Fuller. You're seeing that field early and often. Duke has religiously continued to have top end defensive line groups. They're very slept on in the ACC, but they always have a couple of guys on that defensive front that plays at a very, very, very high level. Alabama is Alabama. We just talked about that in terms of edge rushers when we talked about KJ Green. Auburn's another opportunity for him potentially to play early and often. And then obviously Vanderbilt is a slept on chance for him, in terms of what they're building, obviously with their head coach. So really a solid top 7. We know about Florida as well. Florida obviously, continuing to try to develop their defensive line. But for him, can't go wrong with any of the in-state schools. All of them are pretty much very high academically. We look at Vanderbilt, Georgia Tech, Duke. But it just depends on if he wants to develop, how early does he want to play, and does the team have a plan for him? That's the bottom line, but that's the top 7. That is my recruiting show, man. Appreciate y'all tuning in. I will have another episode I'll pump. I'm going to talk to Armani Hill, man. He's starting to kind of blow up in recruiting. That'll be later on tonight, man. Y'all stay tuned. In an hour from now, we will have our basketball show. So I'm very excited for that. Y'all stay tuned for that with Shane Goins, who crossed 1,000 career points. So we're going to be talking to him here in just a little bit, man. So stay tuned for that. That'll be a lot of fun. But overall, man, that's going to do it for Recruiting Unfiltered. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Appreciate Elam coming on, allowing me to tell his story. And then we'll have some more guests next week, man. So can't wait. If y'all want to be on, y'all know what to do. Hit me the DM. And for all the players that sent me film, I got y'all. This upcoming week, I will do a tell of the tape and break down all of you guys' tapes and give my thoughts and opinions. That's gonna do it for today's show. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and share. We'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.